Let's meet someone who changes the lives of sick kids every day. I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this episode, we chat with Tim Conolan, who is the founder of TLC for Kids, a charity providing fast and inclusive support to sick children and their families across Australia. Since 1998, his leadership has delivered over 13 million instances of care, earning him recognition as Australia's local hero and a member of the Order of Australia. Tim's dedication to compassion and community continues to inspire impactful change nationwide. So thank you so much, Tim, for coming in today.
Thank you, Kate. It's an absolute pleasure, and well done on all the success and everything you're doing as well. So it's
well done
brilliant.
On changing lives. There isn't a person in the green room that hasn't come out saying what Tim is doing is incredible. So tell the audience, what is TLC for Kids?
We are literally, it's a children's charity. We're set up, so it's 26 years ago now, to help sick kids and their families that are doing it tough, may have fallen through the gaps of other healthcare support services, or just need a bit of a hand up. The services we've created have four main programs. So we've got our Rapid TLC program, which is a referral-based system where healthcare professionals, so it's doctors, nurses or social workers, working with the kids, identify the need through conversation, and then they'll get in contact with us to help pay for medical bills, food, fuel, respite care, even funerals sometimes, which is really sad. But it's a 24 to 48 hour turnaround time for delivering the service. No waiting lists, no conditions. It just has to come from one of the healthcare professionals we work with. Our second program is our distraction box, which is a box of toys and items that are used to distract kids while they're having procedures or examinations. So it's not in a waiting room, it's in a treatment or assessment room. We have it in emergency departments, oncology, pathology units. And the idea is to engage the children in positive play, to take away that fear and anxiety of a hospital visit or working with a healthcare professional. At the moment, our boxes are in 405 hospitals across Australia and 11 hospitals in New Zealand.
Wow.
And it's used over 1.1 million times per year.
Well, those distraction boxes, when I came into your office, I remember seeing them, and you told me something that has just stuck with me, that when kids were having a particular procedure done, if they pulled something or they pushed something or it made a noise, that distraction would distinctly take away from a particular pain point. So the science around that I found really interesting. Have you got an example of that?
There's been a lot, yeah. Even the breathing exercises. So one of the items that we use in our distraction box is a windmill. Yeah. It's a very inexpensive little toy, but what they do, either the parent, the guardian or the healthcare professional will talk to the children and get them to blow out the pain.
So good.
So if they're about to have a needle, and they can't lie to the kids, but say, look, this might hurt a little bit, but when you do this, the harder you blow, less pain, no pain. Yeah. And the beautiful thing I love about the windmill, when they're doing that, so they ask the children to blow in, and blow out, breathe in, blow out, breathe in, blow out. As they're doing that, everyone in the room is watching the child, so their breathing pattern and heart rate mimic that of the child. So everyone calms down, which is it's a beautiful, scientific, one of those really kooky little facts.
So it's the families, obviously as a parent too, I know how anxious I am. If my kids need to get blood drawn, they're terrified. They are terrified, and I'm sitting there terrified for them. So
I'm still terrified. And I'm helping these families.
Is it? Yeah.
No, so we try and keep it as simple as possible, but fun for the kids. And you're spot on with that science, because the idea behind it is to replace the memory of trauma. So if the kids have to go back for anything else, their memory would be, look, it might not have been that great, but I did have a bit of fun. And your brain has this really good skill of replacing a negative memory with something that was a bit positive. So it's important to have that positivity given at the right time. That's why all the toys and items are there to literally do that and give empowerment for the kids. So they feel they've been in control in a situation where they are absolutely out of control. So it's been, the distraction boxes are still one of our most popular services,
I
but
think
really
every
impactful.
pathology lab should have a distraction box.
They
Like,
should have.
It would change the dynamic with families taking their kids for these tests.
Absolutely. And even for adults.
Yeah, definitely for adults. See, I have a father-in-law who faints at the sign of blood. So
I've almost.
Yeah, there we go.
Almost done it. So that's our distraction box.
Yes.
Then in 2019, we built our first TLC ambulance.
Oh, wow.
So this was in partnership and still is in partnership with Ambulance Victoria.
Yeah.
And what we've done, we've built a custom-made ambulance vehicle to help kids in palliative care. And what we do, we host these beautiful days out for the child. So it might be the child's favourite destination or the family's destination. We've got cameras inside the vehicle. We have paramedics that volunteer their time and drive the vehicle, so it's medically safe. We have the equipment on board, but a lot of it's hidden, so it doesn't feel like an ambulance. And the days might be literally going to the lake for a picnic. It might be going to the zoo or aquarium. It might be going to the grandmother's house. Or it might be literally going home for a couple of hours to pat the family cat.
Gosh.
Whatever it is, we host it. We make sure the families feel really treasured and safe. We capture the day really tastefully for the families. And then what we do when we take them back to the hospital, usually a couple of days later, we present them with a beautifully presented photo book with highlight photos. We give them a copy of all the footage from the day as well on a desk, and then we buy a star in the name of the child as a lasting legacy for the family to share with their friends and family. It's the first service of its kind in Australia, and what we've done, we've created another version of our ambulance to take kids in wheelchairs. So the first vehicle can take kids that are at high acute palliative care, so it's a stretcher. The second vehicle that we've built, so we've got 3 now, second vehicle can take kids in wheelchairs. And the idea behind the wheelchair is if the kids don't require a stretcher, they feel a little bit more in control. We've also got screens inside the vehicle. So what we do these days out, and there's a lot that goes on, as you can imagine, but on the way back to either hospital or home, on the screens we put the footage of what we experienced on the day. So they're reliving it as they're driving back. Really nice.
Best day of their lives.
Best day of their lives. And we're giving time back for families that they couldn't do. The other advantage we've got with the ambulance, which I absolutely love, it's heartbreaking, but it's heartwarming as well. When it's not being used for memory-making trips, we're utilising it to help with transport to and from appointments for families. So it's not medical transport, it's literally like a maxi cab scenario where we're just taking families to and from appointments if they need to get there. It's all free. So it's unique, but it's a lot of fun. Bit of pressure on all of us, but we like delivering good things to families.
Absolutely. And I think that part of the buying the star at the end, that is so sad to me. I can barely talk about it, but it is such a beautiful, long-lasting memory.
It's because we've been doing that for years with our rapid service anyway, but we thought what a terrific way to complement the ambulance service. Because sadly, if the kids are in palliative care, we know the outcome. So this is something that we guarantee there's a beautiful memory lasting there. So it's very special.
And that happy content as well, having them out of that hospital setting, just not being sick for a moment and just living.
Absolutely. And the ambulance itself, because it doesn't look like an ambulance at all from the outside or the inside. So the memory is replaced from, sadly, most of these kids, the last time they were in an ambulance probably wasn't the best situation. So this is fun. So it's this, and I don't want it to be a pitchy sort of saying, but what we've done is we've created the journey as part of the destination for the trip. So the second you open that door, you're on the journey, and that's creating a memory.
Oh, wow.
So
the party bus.
The party bus.
Here we go. It sounds great.
That's our ambulance. And the fourth program that we have created is Tap to Distract app. So it's a digital version of our distraction box. We've got 22 years of experience in distraction therapy, music therapy, occupation therapy, and child life therapy services that are using our distraction boxes. So all those techniques that they're using, we're putting it into a digital format. So it's literally in the palm of the hands of anybody.
Gosh.
We originally rolled out the app to help out with vaccination hesitancy. When they were rolling out all the ads that say, look, you have to get a vaccine now, showing images of needles going in arms. And needle phobia is still a massive problem.
Oh, it's huge,
I'm 54.
My father-in-law, yep.
Yeah,
You guys would
I'm still
hide
there.
behind the curtain.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I've always thought, well, if there was something that would distract me,
Yeah.
great, but especially with little kids.
Yeah.
So we've had this signed off by the chief medical officers of the ambulance services and hospitals to make sure the content's right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ads, there's no addictive place, there's no gamification, there's no sign-in. It's a completely anonymous app that is 100% free.
Yeah.
We've built it on 3 platforms. So we've got it on a web base and Apple and the Android platforms. Very small data package as well. So once it's on any device, it can work anywhere. So it doesn't need Wi-Fi or internet. Helps out with a lot of the regional space and remote areas as well. So you can put it on a device and go out there.
And a lot of the hospital walls are so thick you can't get reception in areas too. So that's really smart.
Yeah, thank you. And there's a big barrier. So everything we do is always, it's based on the needs of who we're helping. So the children, the families, or the hospitals. And a lot of the hospitals have been using apps for a long time. The problem is, and the biggest barrier, so they don't know if there's going to be an ad that pops up, if they have to sign into a different account, if there's a link to something that might be
inappropriate.
not appropriate.
Yeah.
So we've removed all of that where it's this closed loop, safe environment. Originally it was for kids, usually with a developmental age of maybe 6 or 8, that could be engaged with the distraction. So we've got breathing apps, we've got a find it game, we've got squiggle boards so they can communicate. So if language is a problem, they can actually communicate on the app. But what we found, and this is, I suppose, through a personal experience, my mum sadly had cancer in her tear duct at the start of last year. So she's having the cancer removed. She had a heart attack during the operation. She was rushed over to Royal Melbourne Hospital. While she was there, and she's always been worried about hospitals and she's scared of needles and doctors, but she's had basal cell carcinoma, so she's been in and out a lot, but she just hates them. And while she was there, they had to change a cannula, and she was just desperately worried. And the nurse was touching her arm and she was wincing. I said, Mum, you can't move, because if you do it, you're on blood thinners at the moment, it's going to be, it's just not going to be good. So you have to be still. So I pulled out the app. I thought, what can I do? So I put it onto her shoulder, and I put the breathing app on for her, which it literally breathes in for the count of 4, holds, and breathes out. So we've used the science and techniques behind breathing techniques anyway.
Box breathing,
box breathing. So we put that on. So she's listening to it. She did it for about 2 minutes, and she turns to me and she says, you know what? I'm calm enough now. They can do it. I said, Mum, they've already done it. First time in her life, she was 82. First time that she's ever had a needle where she didn't know she had the needle because of our app.
Wow.
Talk about proud. Look, there's some beyond proud moments I've had with TLC and what we've achieved. But to have something that we built for kids work with my mum just showed me this thing is for anybody. So it's gone from kids from 6 to 8 to 80-year-olds that can benefit. Now people with dementia and Alzheimer's have been using our app. People that are neurodivergent, people that are just highly stressed have been using it. So we've gone out of our zone where we've made sure all the kids that we work with are covered, and it's in all the hospitals we work with. We've created a decal with the QR code on it that's inside thousands of ambulances. So the paramedics might not be trained in paediatric work, but if they jump in, either they can put it on the parent's phone or they've got devices, they can just literally hold it up to the QR code, and within 2 seconds, it's playing. So it's a fun journey. As I was saying, it's 26 years we've been doing it, but for me, it's like we've expanded our services, and this is the first time that we've actually got something that the public can benefit from without having to have a sick child. And
that, I guess, digitisation. How do we continue to move forward? And that's such a great way to be. I mean, all the kids these days are on devices, so that is going to be so familiar to them.
Well, we took all that into account because obviously screen time's it's still an issue. But this is one of those exceptions where your kids can go on this and they're not going to be thinking this desperation, I've got to keep on going, I've got to score, because there's no gamification. We've been very careful to make sure that the games and activities it's short term. Maybe 2 minutes of play. And then they'll be happy. So, well, no, I'm done now. I'm calm. I can put it away. So the idea is you could use it as a circuit breaker.
Yeah.
So if the kids have anything coming up, or adult, or wherever it is, you've got something that might be a bit stressful that you're about to do, use that as your circuit breaker. Or if you're on hold with somebody that you're making an awkward phone call, you can use this to calm down.
Yeah.
So it's
incredible.
Yeah, it's digital for good.
Now, Tim, how did you become this wholehearted person who is literally changing the lives of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of kids and now adults too? Where did you start? So 26
years ago for TLC.
Yeah.
I started very, very young in my entrepreneurial journey. So I had a business with my brother. We were doing clothing, gym wear.
Yeah.
He used to be a professional bodybuilder, so we used to make clothes that fit him. I was doing DJ work when I started when I was 18 years old. So I always loved
music.
Wickety whack,
Amazing.
get on the decks. We had a promotion company. We're doing events, and with the gym wear, and this is what I suppose led me down that path of learning lessons, especially in the entrepreneurial world. We trusted a couple of manufacturers because young, naive, and thinking, well, everyone just does the right thing because that's good business.
Yeah.
But we ended up losing the business, and to the point of about nearly $500,000. And I was 20 years old at the time. So had two options: to sign a piece of paper and say, well, okay, we're bankrupt because somebody shafted us, but that's on us because we should have known better, or work your way out of the debt. So that started a series of 17 to 18 hour days where we're literally back on the tools. We were doing the screen printing, the cutting, the sewing, the selling of the clothes. So we got rid of the manufacturers, but we also lost everything. So it was quite successful back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was only the financial loss. So you have physical, emotional, financial loss in your life.
Yeah.
We went through the financial, said, we'll just work our way back through it. Friends of ours saw that we always had this positive attitude, even though you've got nothing left.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were teaching people how we stay positive. You roll up your sleeve, you can't be afraid of hard work, but it's just money, it's a tool. So work out what you're good at, work out what you want to do, and then work hard at it. So we started doing motivational work. During the motivational work, we also thought, what else can we do? Maybe let's get the kids off the streets. So we'll run some drug and alcohol-free concerts for kids in remote areas to try and help. That cost a lot of money as well. It wasn't as successful as we were hoping it would be, but we kept on doing the motivation work on the side anyway. That led to doing a weekend camp with a group that was working with cancer kids. And I hadn't had anything to do with anybody that was sick. Family was all very well. It's a pretty blessed life. And on the camp, we were teaching the same motivational techniques. So it was positive goal setting, dream collages, doing meditation as well. So I was taught how to meditate at a very young age. So we introduced that as part of the lessons, and the kids loved it. And for me personally, I thought, wow, I'm teaching something that I love, but you're getting a lot out of it. So that was motivating for me. And I got a phone call from one of the boys. His name is Francis. This was the day after the camp. And I spent a fair bit of time with him on the camp as well. And he was, I don't know if it's the right term, but he was like the sickest. He was the most unwell kid on the camp. And he got back from the doctors and he said, look, I've got some pretty bad news. I've got about a month to live. So I was floored. I went round and saw Francis and spent some time with him as well. And I thought, well, what can we do? How can I boost your energy up? And he ended up having 3 wishes. The last wish is what he wanted to achieve, which was a surfboard, a pair of runners, and a breath without pain. So again, we were financially strapped from our past, so I didn't have the money to buy anything for him. So I called up, it was Nike and Rip Curl back then. I said, look, situation is, Francis needs this, I can't afford it, but if you can help out, that'd be great. They were happy to help.
Great.
So that was happy for me. It was, I was facilitating. And because of the meditation work that I'd done, I spoke to his nurse and his mum and Francis as well, and he was open to it. So we sat down, it was a Friday afternoon, and talked him through a meditation to help him find a breath. And it was about 40 minutes, I suppose, and he took 3 deep breaths without any pain at all. Beautiful moment. I thought, this is phenomenal. This is a part that always gives me goosebumps, because he had the 3 things that he wanted in his life and helped him achieve it. I was going to catch up with him on the following Monday, and I got a call from his mum that morning to say that Francis just passed away.
Oh.
So I went round, saw Vivian, his mum, and sat with her for a couple of hours, and we just chatted. I'm not a counsellor, but I can listen and shoulders for people to cry on. And she said that he was appreciative of all the support. He wasn't bitter, he wasn't angry, and he was very he was just calm.
Yeah.
But he knew that what his life was going to be and knew the outcome. He said, but the one thing that he wanted before he died was a breath without pain, so he could feel like a normal kid one more time. And she said, you gave him that breath. And the second she said it, I was devastated that he passed, but I thought, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. Very young, so I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's the sliding doors moment, he's changed my life forever. So I've got his photo in my office. I thank him and think of him every day. So from Francis, I thought, who else can I help? And that led in this path to just look what was happening. And that led me to starting TLC for Kids in 1998.
And 26 years later now, how many lives do you think you've changed?
It's actually, because we record the stats each month, we get great feedback from the hospitals that we work with as well. So we've kicked over 16.2 million times our services have been used.
Wow, 16.2 million. That is unbelievable.
So,
well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Tim.
Absolute pleasure.
And this is the Inspired CEO. We'll be right back.